Hello, everyone. Welcome to a pre-interview for Funnel 5. I'm Leslie Powers. I'm one of the co-organizers for the Freedom Under Law conferences. We have Funnel 5 coming up. Our theme is Ignite Hearts and Minds, the event that will spark truth, love, and freedom. And I have a wonderful guest here today, Cory Edmund a friend, a collaborator, an abolitionist, someone who's very active in this work with a whole myriad of projects and um, work out there. So we'll let him share a little about that before we finish today. But I'd like to start with asking you, Cory. Well, first of all, welcome, and thank you for taking your time to be a part of our conference, and looking very forward to what you have to bring to the table. So tell us what are you planning to share at Funnel 5?
Thank you so much, Leslie, and I'm really glad to be a part of Freedom Under Natural Law, great community of people that I'm always part of for the past few years. Just really glad to be a part of people who really care about bettering humanity and the one great work of trying to free humanity. And there's a lot of aspects to our freedom, and that includes our health, right? If there's a disease taking over our body, we feel like we're burdened to that disease, and we have to battle it and fight it. And sometimes we don't pay attention to our health enough, and then we find out later on we have to pay so much attention to it. We're like, oh man, well, I should have known this, I should have known that, and why didn't someone tell me this? Why didn't someone tell me that? So, this seminar that I'm creating, it's called ARDA, and the effort for the conscious, creative, integrative, and individualized health is going to shift a lot of people's worldview regarding health as a whole concept. So this is for anybody who's new to my work and for anybody who is already familiar with my work. This is totally unique, very unique work, at least if I'm going to give a very general outline of what it is. It's going to go over the basic fundamentals to health and looking at different aspects of it. I mentioned four things in particular: conscious, creative, integrative, and individualized. So hopefully that gives some bit of a picture, but if you want, I could also break that down a little bit.
Yeah, a sneak peek here. So I'd first like to ask you a more general question about how is health and our focus on developing our health related to freedom?
Yeah. And I do want to say, related to that, the freedom of purchasing power, the freedom to live your life as you please without having this hindrance of disease on your life, being able to eat what you want. The dieting industry is a multi-billion dollar industry. These drug industries are multi-billion dollar industries. Every sponsor on TV, most of them are pharma companies. You and I share a project called healthreveal.org where we go over all of the statistics and we share tons of practitioners really concerned about the system. I want to give individualized tips for everybody out there who maybe is lost regarding their health, maybe wants some direction on like, what did I do since I was 13 that got me into this very, idea of truth to begin with. It was my gateway to igniting, right? This is what the whole conference is about, igniting the spark within me to see everything else in the world. It was health. It was looking at ingredients in the food. It was looking at nutrition, very basic nutrition that we aren't taught about. Everybody, I feel like, should know that. And then opening that up into like, why are there all these chemicals in our food supply that shouldn't be there? Why are there all these therapies that we aren't taught about? Why are certain doctors not allowed to use certain things? And then it just opened and opened and opened and opened. So this, I think, is a huge topic. I mean, America and healthcare. I mean, we have obesity, diabetes epidemics, all sorts of autoimmune diseases, mental health. And so I think even providing outlets or alternatives, just that people don't usually see, things that may even be censored. We know this has been admitted, like Zuckerberg from Facebook said that he was threatened by the government to take down information that would be anti this or pro this during certain years. And this has ramped up more and more recently with recent events. I think it's important people have access to this information and they have access not just to the information, but the perspectives of how to go about that information. Because you have, tools at your fingertips and you have foods to choose from. And sometimes they're really expensive, but sometimes they're actually cheaper than the processed, stuff that you see in a grocery store. You feel like, oh my gosh, this is the only thing I can afford. There's always different ways to go about how you do something. And if you
Mhm.
start with a template and you start with an idea that can get you creative and on a path, a journey that becomes individualized, that becomes integrative, where you're adding things in, you're not just removing things out, where you don't just have a list of to-dos of I gotta not do this, not do that, not do that, and you actually are inspired and you want to learn and you're like, man, I'm feeling better. I look better. I'm able to do so much more than I never thought. Like that was me. That was me growing up doing this work, and why I'm able to do the work I'm able to do, why I'm able to stay up late into the night and go to markets and talk to people and have this enthusiasm because I enjoy life and the foods and the things that give me life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm fully embarked in this journey, and that's what Arda is. It's a journey. This is named after Lord of the Rings. What we're on is a journey in this life, and there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be all sorts of challenges, and I'm here to share it with you and to say, hey, I'm on this journey with you, and I'm actually going to show pictures from my journey, from all my
Awesome.
years. I'm even going to show all the recipes from all the years, even the things that I'm like, I wouldn't maybe do that nowadays, right? I'm going to show it because I think it's worth people seeing kind of what brought me here and what I think will help a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah, I really like how you have this vision of seeing how these details are very connected to a whole vision here of health and
Hmm.
freedom. And, one as a content creator and one who really is as prolific as you are, it is very impressive. And so there's something you're doing right in terms of your own health maintenance and your attitude and mindset, related
Hmm.
to your health and how you're managing the work you're doing. And I think also recognizing there's a lot of rabbit holes that this whole aspect of health and nutrition,
Yes.
can open up people to deep rabbit holes to see the way that, our health, our access to healthy foods, the information we receive is very managed and controlled and controlled by people with different agendas than our own health itself,
Yeah.
right? And then how
Right.
do we overcome that? How do we work with that? How do we seek our own health freedom within this complex web?
Hmm.
So
It's a
yeah,
lot to talk about, so I
there's
got
a
to
lot.
break it down. And you know what?
Yeah.
Everything in my seminar is backed by science and statistics that I share through the whole thing. So since it's talking about health, I figured I would share that. So every little thing is broken down so people can see all the research that's on these topics. And I will also give the disclaimer about the research. I will also critique the research. So I think it'll be really worth it for people to watch.
Yeah, I know it will be. And I think very inspiring. What are the action steps? If you were to say, what do you hope that a listener will do and be inspired to do after listening to your presentation?
Um, for food choices, I think it's going to open up a whole idea of like, wow, this is what I can use as a template for my own health, regardless of what diet I'm on, regardless of who you are, where you live. This applies to everybody. Like it really does. And I think that's the magic of this world of Arta and this framework that I created that I actually, this is named after one of my first works I've ever done before any of my books. When I was 18, I was getting very creative and I was like, I'm into video games and I'm into, looking into these movies. And I made a seminar at one point called The Lord of the Rings Dethroned, right? And I go over the whole symbology of the ring and the races and all that stuff. So, when we apply that to the realm of health, you're like, what in the world are you doing, Cory? But you're going to see this is actually very applicable. There's a reason why people love the movies and the symbology behind it, and why Tolkien is still treasured to this day for many things. This is somebody who's been journaling for a long time, who said in his own words that he doesn't think some men should rule over other men. He's like, no, none are fit to rule. This is someone who's directly saying like, hey, I might be Catholic, but I'm not part of the Catholic Church. Like he's a free thinker. He's someone who's creative. He's a linguist. He makes his own language, right? So I'm getting just as creative here, and I'm applying these ideas in a different way that will help you see things very differently, which makes it hard to describe. I think it's worth somebody takes a look into the seminar and fully embodies himself in the journey. Because it's one for me to speak of, hey, on the path and I had to destroy the ring going to the mountain. And it's another to be like, okay, here's all the steps that took from going to the Shire, having to change my whole life around and then walking out of the Shire and having to go to this mountain of doom and throw the ring into the fire. Like, it, imagine me describing that versus actually
Right.
seeing it, right? Which is why they made it a movie.
Yeah,
It's um, it's powerful.
yes, and it is a very individual journey, and
Hmm.
I think our health and our nutrition planning really is does require an individual responsibility and a self-knowledge, right,
Yes.
on that journey.
I've been
So,
wanting to make this for a while because
mhm,
honestly, this is the least amount of attention I've given to the subject. Like, I just haven't given it on my channel. I might have thousands of
mhm,
videos, shorts, and stuff, but I've never given the amount of attention I'm giving this seminar.
yeah.
So it's going to be that special.
Oh, I'm excited. So, just for people that aren't as familiar with Lord of the Rings and what Arda is, could you describe that, for people?
Arda is the world of Lord of the Rings, right? So the activities that you see in like the movies and most of the activities in the books you find is Middle Earth. Middle Earth is a continent, a place within Arda. So Arda is like the Earth, basically, the whole Earth. And so that's basically what it represents. It's just the entire world. And then within that world, of course, you have many different places. You have like the Dark Lands, the Middle Earth, where most things take place. And then you have places where people are retreating. There's different islands. And a lot of it is, barely any of it has been depicted on movies. Most of this world that Tolkien created is not even like really utilized by most academics and most of the entertainment industry. They can make another whole set of movies for decades off of
Wow.
his work. I mean,
Yeah.
think about how many video games were inspired by the idea of dwarves versus elves versus goblins, like all these. And where did those ideas come from? They come from ancient myths and folklores and all these ideas that Tolkien learned from. And so he also, was in the army and all sorts of things that was going on. So it's a very inspiring thing. And I never thought I was going to get into Lord of the Rings. First time I watched The Hobbit, I fell asleep. You know, but then it's like, then you actually delve into the work and you read this stuff and you're like, wow, this is actually really profound. And the reason why so many people love the movies, including
Yeah.
myself, as I got older, I just realized more and more of the importance. And I think it's the same thing with health. When you're young, it's like, oh, I maybe not, don't care as much. But as you get older, you start feeling some things in the world and you start looking around you and everyone's getting sick. You're like, man,
Mhm.
something's got to
Right.
change.
Right.
You can live in the Shire in your peaceful little world all you want, but then you see the whole world outside of you of man and dwarves getting greedy and elves like having to save the world, and you're like, I can't. I have to do something about it. And the
Mhm.
Shire is the only group of people that are able to destroy the ring. The only
Yeah.
group of people that are truly free enough to destroy the ring of power. This thing that is a corrupting influence on their lives. And if you want to look at that like some of the worst of diseases and the mastermind scientists who are trying to develop drugs to make you sicker and sicker. How are you going to get out of that loop? Because one drug might lead to another drug, one disease might lead to another disease. How are you going to break that loop? I think it's by creating sustainable long-term habits in your lifestyle. And by me providing this framework for you, you can find that for yourself, really. And there's not many blueprints out there that help you do that for yourself. They usually say, this is how you look at health, this is how you look at it, but they're not encouraging that journey, which is
Hmm.
what everything in life is. Why aren't we treating that with diet? No, you got to lose weight within a month, within 2 months, within 30 days, it's guaranteed, buy
Hmm.
my books. It's like, no, this is all free, and I don't want people to buy anything from me. I might have a work titled Arta that people can buy, but I don't want them to buy that because I told you it's one of my earliest works. That's why I haven't shared it much. Part of the reason is the editing wasn't so great. I want to put out this seminar and say, hey, check this out. Here's pictures of what it looked like for me, so you see what it actually is, and this is what you can do too.
Oh, that's great, Corey. I'm very excited for this. Very inspiring, and it's an intriguing journey. Right? There's always unexpected twists and turns and things to
Hmm.
prepare for. And I think, you know, having this kind of a model that a person can follow in making their own decisions is really helpful. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the principles of things. from a very high and cosmic
Hmm.
standpoint. And
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah, like
looking
what's
at
the
it.
base smoothie? What's the base
Mhm.
juicing? Like what do I start with?
Yeah.
Where do I go? These questions I think daunt people a lot when they're
Mhm.
first coming across like this is my goal. Okay, now what do I do with the goal? It's like,
Yes.
okay, I can go to some content creator and they're going to lead me down one path, but this other content creator is going to lead me down this other path.
Yeah.
Who's right? They both claim to have success.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, they got their science, they got their science. Which one do I follow, right? You live in a world with so much information to the point where it's easy to get lost.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Well,
you
I
have to
look
have
forward.
these.
The map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cory. I'm very excited. I look forward to this presentation. I know it'll
Sure.
be one of a kind, and you're going to bring your own unique gifts to it. We're honored to have you, honored to be part of a collaboration on projects with you. So please share with the audience where people can find more of your work and how to begin the process of going through your labyrinth of works. Yeah.
Yeah, Corey, Nature is the Answer on most platforms. And you'll see I have various books on various topics: Taoism, permaculture, natural law, abolitionism, slavery, cults, authoritarian psychology. You and I share that project, Health Revealed. But there's many other projects like Bigfoot Food Forest, where I actually am gathering with people on 5 acres here in Florida, where we're actually building a community center and growing food together. There's various projects like Empower the Era, where I'm going to college campuses, talking to college kids, getting their opinions on what's going on in the world, and trying to inspire them with new ideas. I'm a very active person. I what I say, I do, and I find ways to strategize with other people like Jim Gale, who's got 50 acres and off
Mhm.
grid. Say, hey, maybe we can work on a movie. Hey, maybe we can work on an animation. Hey, maybe we can do this. I'm always trying to find ways, and so I'm always open for collaboration, or if anybody has any questions or they want to learn, how do I get started with content creation? I have tech courses on my channel. I have, if you want to learn how to write your own book, like I try to share everything with the
Yeah.
public. The End of Slavery Summit, right? Talking
Yeah.
about all sorts of things, over 50 speakers. And there's a lot out there people aren't really aware of, even in freedom circles.
Yeah.
So if you want to dive deep into my work, you'll see there's hundreds of links
Yeah.
across
And
different
then the
platforms.
Liberator too, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Abolition.
newspaper I run, and I encourage
Yeah.
anybody to send articles, and I'll turn it into videos for you. I'll also have a newsletter that it will be sent to thousands of people every single week. And there's even more resources in that newsletter. It's more of an aggregate platform, all in one for freedom and truth. And I'm looking to do even more with that as time moves forward, because we'll have a real life headquarters location with Bigfoot Food Forest or whatever project that I create that will allow that newspaper to actually be in people's hands physically. So there's a lot of potential with these projects intersecting, and also with you, the audience,
Yeah.
intersecting with my work, because it really relies on you.
Yeah. It's you have great vision, Corey, and then the discipline to really activate yourself towards that vision. It's very impressive. Just want to say that again. So
Thank you, Leslie. You too.
yeah, thank you. And so, all of you, please, I look forward to seeing you at Freedom Under Natural Law Conference, Funnel 5, February 21st and 22nd in 2026. It's a free online conference. Check out freedomundernaturallaw.com and just keep up with the progress, and you'll see the list of speakers shortly on that, and lots of promos. So thank you very much again, Cord. Thank you for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
We'll see you later at Funnel. Bye.
Bye.
So, natural law is a set of universal, inherent, objective, non-man made, eternal, and immutable conditions which govern the consequences of behavior of beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. Funnel 5, a free 2-day online conference.
Ignite hearts and minds.
The event that will spark truth, love, and freedom.
February 21st and 22nd, 2026.
For more information, visit freedomundernaturallaw.com.